You spend roughly 1/3 of your life in a space that was never designed for your biology, and you're starting to notice something feels broken. You are living through a quiet catastrophe of comfort where the walls are perfectly white, the temperature is always 72 degrees, and your brain has stopped recording your own existence. Think about the last 3 hours of your workday. For 99.9% of human history, a 3-hour window was a lifetime of high-stakes decisions, finding water, tracking movement, or tending the fire that kept the darkness at bay. Today, those hours are a gray smear of emails and blue light. We call it time blindness or routine-induced boredom. But what's actually happening is far more disturbing. We have built ourselves a paradise that is functionally indistinguishable from a cage. In 1968, a researcher named John Calhoun built Universe 25, a perfect environment for mice with unlimited food, no predators, and total safety. It was supposed to be a utopia. Instead, he watched as a society with no friction completely collapsed. The mice didn't die of hunger or disease. They died because they ran out of meaningful roles. When there was nothing left to defend and no struggle to overcome, they stopped being mice. They became the beautiful ones, individuals who did nothing but eat, sleep, and groom themselves, completely opting out of the social fabric of their species. Your workspace is your Universe 25. When we remove the friction that once made being alive feel like a challenge, we remove the very things that anchor us in time. In a world where nothing is hard, your brain stops paying attention. This is why you can't remember what you did last Tuesday. Your brain, much like the infant brain, is incredibly efficient at discarding information that doesn't fit into a meaningful narrative. Without friction, the resistance of the world against your efforts, there is no story for your mind to tell. But the problem isn't just a lack of struggle. It's a fundamental mismatch between your hardware and your environment. You are an animal that evolved to outrun every other creature on the African savanna through a complex system of thermal regulation. You are a species that burns in its own sunlight and breaks under its own gravity because your spine is essentially a horizontal bridge that evolution tried to stand upright in a geological blink. Now, take that high-performance, upright walking, heat-shedding predator and sit it in an ergonomic chair for 8 hours under fluorescent bulbs. Your body is screaming that something is wrong. About 80% of humans experience chronic back pain because our blueprint was retrofitted badly for the lives we lead now. We are walking prototypes that never got a final update, trying to survive in a world we created too fast for our own wiring to handle. This mismatch extends to how we perceive time itself. Before the industrial age, humans didn't sleep in one continuous block. They had first sleep, followed by a window of quiet, meditative wakefulness, and then second sleep. During that middle of the night gap, the brain produced elevated levels of prolactin, a hormone that creates a state of peaceful reflection most modern humans have never even experienced. We traded that ancient rhythm for a light switch. Today, the blue light from your monitors suppresses your melatonin and tricks your brain into thinking it is permanently midday. We have eliminated an entire phase of human consciousness and replaced it with a fragmented, artificial day that never ends. When your brain thinks it's always now, it loses the ability to track. Then you aren't just bored, you are chronologically untethered. Your body's internal clock is trying to run a 300,000-year-old program while being bombarded by signals that the sun never sets. This is where the overview effect of the workspace comes in. It's the sudden, jarring realization that you are an invasive species on your own planet, taking apart the ecosystem of your own life. You look at your desk, your screens, and your routine, and for a moment, You see the behavioral sink Calhoun described, the compulsive crowding around meaningless tasks even when other options are available. We are the only species that knows it's going to die, yet we spend our limited time in environments that feel designed to make us forget we are alive. Neuroscience tells us that in the final minute of life, the brain doesn't just fade to black, it surges with gamma waves, the same waves associated with memory retrieval and heightened awareness. Survivors of clinical death often report a life review where they don't see their big achievements, but the small, ordinary moments they didn't think anyone was recording. The tragedy of the modern workspace is that it creates a black hole of memory similar to infantile amnesia. When every day is the same, there is no narrator to package your experiences into a story. You are essentially disassembling and rebuilding your mind every day without saving the progress. So, how do we escape the sink? Calhoun believed the answer wasn't to return to the woods, but to move into conceptual space, to create new roles and new friction through ideas and networks. He called it ideational generativity, the act of constantly building new reasons to be here. Your time blindness isn't a disorder, it's a signal. It's your body remembering what it was built to do and realizing it isn't doing it. You were designed for the friction of the world, for the stories told around a fire, and for the quiet reflection of the night. If the modern world feels like a mismatch, it's because it is. The next time you feel the hours disappearing into a gray void, remember that your brain is waiting for something worth recording. You have the choice that the mice in Universe 25 didn't have. You can choose to reintroduce the friction. You can choose to build a role that doesn't exist yet. Because in the end, it's not the achievements on your resume that will flash before your eyes. It's the ordinary moments where you were actually present enough to notice you were alive. Stop looking at the clock and start looking at the sky. Your ancestors spent half their lives in the dark just so you could have the chance to see the stars. Don't trade that history for a light switch.